Let's go over product rule in this video. So if you have a product of two functions like f times g, and they ask you to find the derivative of it. So for example, in general, if you have a function f and you have a function g and they're multiplying, and they say, hey, find the derivative of that. In section 1.5, remember, we actually FOILed it out. Like, look at this one. We actually multiplied it out, and then we used power rule for individual terms, okay? We don't have to do that. There's something called a product rule. And product rule goes like this. Okay, this is what you do. If you have something getting multiplied, I'll call it, this is the first term, right? The first, and this is the second, okay? What you will do is this. You multiply first times the derivative of the second, okay? First times the derivative of the second. So if, you're going to write it down exactly the same. The g prime, you're going to actually take the derivative of g, and then you're going to multiply to that term. Do the plus sign, and you're going to do g times the second times the derivative of the first. We'll do this so often, or you will memorize this, you will get this, but this is the product rule, and I will use this in the next couple examples. Product rule, and so that we get to memorize this cool product rule, I will write it down as many times as I can, okay? So here is the product rule. All right, so let's use this product rule down here. They said find dy dx, do not simplify. So we don't have to, once we write it in a product rule answer, once we just get the answer, we don't have to FOIL it out. So let's try this. So how about, I like to label things, guys. It makes it easier for me to just keep things organized. So I'll call the first parenthesis, that trinomial, my f. I'll call that f. And I will call the second one, I will call this one g. When you are doing product rule, you need to find the derivative of both of them, and those pieces will be used. So what I like to do is I write everything down. I know f is equal to x to the fourth power minus 2x cubed minus 7. And later, on the line below, I will now find the derivative of this, okay? We just learned power rule, so I want to go slow, but assuming that you already kind of worked on that 1.4 homework, you guys know how to take the derivative of this, okay? So bring down the 4, bring down this 4, right? So you get 4x to the what power? The new exponent is 3. Next, bring down this 3 and multiply to this 2, or negative 2. So that will be negative 6x to the second power. And remember, derivative of a constant, like negative 7 is just a constant, is just 0, so I don't have to put minus 0, okay? So I am done finding the derivative of f. So now I'm going to move on to g. Let me go ahead and write down the g. G just means the second thing that I'm multiplying, which is 3x squared minus 5x. This is just me labeling things out. Some of you can just do this in your head and just write the answer in a single line, but I like to keep things organized. G prime, let me go ahead and use the product rule. I do a power rule. 3 times 2, the new coefficient is going to be 6x to the first power, because I need to go down 1 from 2. So I don't have to write 1 if it's just an exponent of 1. Now next one, derivative of 5x is simply negative 5. The x goes away, okay? All right, so I got all my pieces ready. Let me go ahead and kind of minimize, make it a little bit smaller. But what I'm doing is I'm using the product rule, and I'll go ahead and write the product rule. Product rule, okay? Which says y prime is equal to first times the derivative of the second plus second times the derivative of the first. All we now need to do is just plug in those pieces in here, okay? So here's the derivative, or dy dx, or y prime. Did they call it y prime? No, they wanted you to write it as dy dx. How about I just follow that? Dy dx. What is the derivative? Y. of y with respect to x. So first, what do we need to write? It says write down f. F is right here. So let me write that down. Parenthesis, x to the 4th power minus 2x cubed minus 7. I close the parenthesis. The next thing that I need to write is g prime. G prime is right here. So I'll open another parenthesis and do 6x minus 5. I close the parenthesis. The sign in the middle is plus, so do write down plus sign. Let's see, what is the next term? I need to do the g. So what is g? G is this term, so I'll write that down. Parenthesis 3x squared minus 5x. And the very last piece that we need to put is f prime. And f prime is that. So just writing it down. Oh, this is so long. I need to go out that way. So this will be 4x cubed minus 6x squared. Now remember they said do not simplify. So I am done. I found the dy dx and this is the answer. And hold on, let me go ahead and minimize this to make it a little bit smaller so that I can actually have some room for the next one. But you see how I'm doing this very slowly because we're finding the derivative of like 2 different things. So hopefully that helped. And you know what? Maybe I can do some colors over here. So that's the blue. This is the purple. This is the orange. And this was the green. I hope you see these 4 pieces coming together. All right, let me do one more, okay? This is fun. Oh, but hold on. Everybody's looking good here. Like x squared, 4x minus 11, they're all looking good. 7x cubed, that's good. But I don't like this one. We'll rewrite this one. Rewrite as x to the 1/2 power. Remember we talked about that in class. How if you have a square root, we can write it as x to the 1/2 power. If you have a cube root, we can write it as x to the 1/3 power. But we want to do that so that we can use the power rule. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and list. Obviously, this is a product. Let's go ahead and label the first term. The first, I shouldn't say term, first function is f. So I can say f is equal to x squared plus 4x minus 11. And f prime, I need to take the derivative, okay? So derivative is going to be, if I look at x squared first, the 2 will come down and will turn into 2x. And if I look at plus 4x, that's going to give me plus 4. And minus 11 will give us 0, so we don't have to write it. Okay, so that's the first piece. And I need the second function, so I'll call that a g. G is equal to 7x cubed. But remember, instead of minus square root of x, I wrote it as x to the 1/2 power so that we can use the power rule. G prime equals, okay, remember what we do? We multiply this 3 by 7. So we're going to get 21x squared minus, bring down that half, and go down 1 from positive half. Half minus 1 is negative half. So we got it. So we got all the pieces. We got f and f prime, g and g prime. We're ready to do the product rule. Ready, ready, ready? So these are my little pieces that I like to write down. I always do this. Let's try to keep things organized. So here's the product rule. Oh, whoopsies. Product rule. Product rule, which goes like this. If you try to find dy dx, that's going to be first times the derivative of the second plus second times the derivative of the first. So let's put all the pieces together. You ready? dy dx is going to be a long expression. So first, I need to write down f. F is that trinomial. So you go ahead and write it, parenthesis, x squared plus 4x minus 11. Now what's next? I need g prime. G prime is the last line that we have up there. So I'll go ahead and write that down. 21x squared minus half x to the negative 1/2. I close the parenthesis. In the middle, I have a plus sign. Write down the plus sign. Let's keep going. I need to write the G. Oh, that's not a highlighter. I apologize. G is that expression. You see what I mean by some people don't really label things out and they do just fine in their head? Up to you. Okay, I just need one more thing. What color should I use? I'll use brown color. And that's F prime. I'm out of room here, so let me try to move this a little bit to the right, to the left. And I'll write down the last piece of 2x plus 4. That's a very nice looking derivative. Okay, so I am done with this example. I will just go ahead and circle this answer. And thank goodness, right? They said, hey, don't simplify it. You don't have to simplify it because imagine simplifying this, we're going to have to FOIL and, multiply and all. But the purpose of these examples were to show you how to use product rule. And as you can clearly see, we're involving 4 little pieces to put together a derivative of the entire product. Okay, let's look at example 2. So we're going to try it 2 different ways. And one way is to use the product rule, and the other way is to actually multiply. So it says a big f of x is equal to, let me go ahead and highlight this. Oh, I got an email. 2x plus 1 times x squared minus 3. They said find f prime of x in 2 ways. First, by multiplying 2 binomials. So I'll do that one over here. Method 1, multiply first. I'll go ahead and do that. So a big f of x is equal to 2x plus 1. Let us FOIL this. Let's multiply this out. If I FOIL this, I will just do that. But what we are doing is we're just simply FOILing. We're not taking the derivative yet, so don't put the prime notation just yet. So that will be 2x to the 3rd power minus 6x plus x squared minus 3. All right, ready? Let us take the derivative. Okay, finally we're doing calculus this time. F prime of x. Using the power rule that you and I talked about in our synchronous Zoom meeting. So first term, how can you take the derivative of 2x to the 3rd power? That will give us 6x to the 2nd power, right? So it's a good review of power rule. How about this term? Minus 6x will give us negative 6. X is gone. What's the next term? We have x squared. That will give us plus 2x. And lastly, the minus 3 will just give us 0. So this is our derivative, and for me, this method is perfectly fine. I don't see the reason of using another method, but we're going to use product rule this time, and we're going to see if we get the same answer. Okay, so let me copy down the problem here again. F of x. Oh, let me go ahead and write down what we are doing. Say that we're using the product rule. And we better get the same answer, right? So product rule method, and we're going to copy down f of x. F of x equals, I may have to finish this video very soon, right after this example, and I will be back. Okay, so I wrote it down. Let us use the product rule this time. So what I need is, I always label the first as the little f. I think I can finish this video. No worries. All right, little f. So if I find the derivative of that f, wouldn't that be derivative of 2x is just 2. Derivative of 1 is just 0. So it's just going to be 2. All right, let's do the next one. Here's my g. Oh no, I went too far. I don't want to stop my video. I'm going to keep on going. X squared minus 3. What is g prime going to be? That is going to be, take the derivative of x squared. That will give you 2x. And derivative of 3 is 0. So no need to write that. So let's do the product rule. Let's do the product rule. Okay. Which is f prime of x is first times the derivative of the second plus second times the derivative of the first. And we're ready to put this together. Ready? So first term is f. And f is 2x plus 1. So we write that down first. Parenthesis 2x plus 1. All right, I need to multiply this by g prime. And you see g prime is simply 2x. So parenthesis 2x. Plus sign. And where is g? The next term I need is g. G is x squared minus 3. X squared minus 3. And lastly, my f prime is going to be just 2. Okay, just 2. All right, I'm going to go ahead and simplify this, okay? I need to just distribute the 2x and then distribute the 2. And then we can see if we have any like terms to combine. So if I distribute the 2x, I will get 4x squared plus 2x. And then here comes the next term, plus 2x squared minus 6. We see any like terms here? Let's take a look. Like term here and like term there. So those, if we combine them, we'll get 6x squared plus 2x minus 6. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so that we can compare if this answer matches what we had from the multiplying method. Looks a little different. Oh, that's okay. The order is just switched. Order is just switched. But they are the same thing, right? So both method works. Honestly, I think multiplying first was easier for this because it was nothing more than a FOIL problem. But sometimes, like example over here, it'll be easier to do the product rule, especially when they tell you, hey, you don't have to simplify. So I will stop this video here. So that was a good introduction of product rule. I will be right back and I will go over more examples in another video.